Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Taylor and today is a crochet and chat about underconsumption. So I know that the underconsumption core trend came and went on TikTok, and then what did it become? The normalizing everyday life trend, and those have both kind of come and gone, and unfortunately consumerism always wins out. Today I wanted to talk to you about my relationship to consumerism, underconsumption, low buy things, and what I think about all of that stuff. So if that sounds interesting to you, this video is going to be part self-reflection, part, my story, and maybe a few tips along the way. So if that sounds good to you, don't forget to hit that like button, grab your project so we can sit and work on it together. I'm working on a sweater for my boyfriend. I'm really excited to finally be working on this because I am so anxious about not finishing everything for people for Christmas this year. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Starting at the beginning, for me, my first real foray into overconsumption was beauty YouTube circa like 2014. I was a junior in high school and I really got sucked into beauty YouTube. I was so obsessed with makeup. I thought about wanting makeup all the time, about buying makeup all the time. At that time though, I was, just a 16-year-old with no job and no money. Therefore, I really couldn't buy anything. And, what I did have, I bought like cheap drugstore makeup. And my mother actually is not interested in makeup at all, and so she really didn't understand why or how this interest came about, and to this day she's still like, I don't understand why you wear that makeup, and it's fine. But because of that, obviously I had to outsource that information for makeup, and that kind of led me down a rabbit hole of wanting all the time. I asked for makeup for my birthday, for Christmas, anytime that I was able to. I got new makeup, and I wanted a beauty room. Like how Tati Westbrook had her like big beauty room, and that was a huge deal. I say Tati because that's like the most memorable name to me, but I also followed like Jaclyn Hill at the time, and I really loved, oh my gosh, her closet tour was so cool to me at the time. I thought it was so pretty. Obviously, both people are not super in the spotlight anymore, and I don't consume either of their content as it exists today in 2025. They were really like up and coming, really big at the time, therefore I watched them, and it made me want makeup all the time. And once I finally was able to start buying things, like my first job was a cashier at Walmart, and the way in which I was in those aisles all the time looking at makeup, literally just looking at it, just looking at products. I feel like that is so odd for someone to be doing. My first connection to underconsumption was actually in college when minimalism had its kind of first rise in, I believe it was 2017. Yeah, it was like 2016, 2017. I heard about minimalism, and then there were creators on YouTube that I watched where they were like, everything I own fits in this backpack, and I was like, no way, I want to do that. So I actually got rid of a lot of things right after my freshman year of college, because I was like, I'm going to be a minimalist, and I'm going to be able to fit everything in my car. And unfortunately, in my brain, like, that has always stuck, like, oh, I would love to be able to do that. What's the point in doing that? Why? I own too many books, I own too much yarn. I'm never going to be the person who does something like that. So I don't understand why I feel like that's some sort of like thing to aspire to. For some people, that's great. That is never going to be a reality for me, and I wish I wish as a 25-year-old that mindset that I had at around 19, I wish I could kick. Did I say I was 25? I'm 28. Oh my god. I think I just have like 2025 stuck in my mind. But I wish that at 28 years old I could like kick that mindset, because I've had it for like 10 years. And it's so crazy because after that little spout with minimalism, never once again have I wanted to be a minimalist. Throughout college, I didn't have the money to spend on a lot of different things. The biggest thing that I spent money on in college was clothing, because my body was changing from, being in high school to being an adult, and I had to, accommodate my growing body still. And, I put on some weight. So I did have to buy some clothes, and unfortunately in South Dakota, where I was living at the time, they didn't have a whole lot of options to shop secondhand, and I'm really not an online shopper, so that wasn't entirely an option for me, and Amazon and online shopping weren't as big as they are now when I was in college. I kind of just coasted for a long time. I never really got sucked into TikTok shop. I jumped ship on TikTok, I believe in like 2023. It was like 2022 or 2023, and I was just like, nope, no more, no thank you. And so I kind of dodged that. I think because I got so interested in makeup at such a young age, and I say young, I liked it so much when I was like 15, 16, but I didn't have the money to buy anything. Therefore, it taught me that like I have to wait for things, or I have to really think about whether or not I want them. And I feel that I've been able to bring that into my adult life. I'm very good at waiting for things if it is not the right time, or if there is something that I want, I will look for the exact right thing before I buy it. I will not, especially when it comes to clothes, I am so unyielding when it comes to a style that I want. Like if I want a cardigan to look like X, it has to hit every single metric for me to purchase that thing. Does that always work? No. I'm not a perfect person. It's not a perfect system. Within the past 2 years, when I moved back to Minnesota, so it was kind of like I moved to Rapid and then I moved to Minnesota, and now I'm here, in Minnesota living with my boyfriend. Throughout this past 2-ish years, I've really been trying to reevaluate my relationship to consumerism. I don't want to go so far as to say I have or had a shopping problem, but I definitely feel like I was shopping in excess to what my space could hold. I've never been in financial hardship because of my spending habits. It's mostly just a space issue. And I feel like if you are someone who likes to read or crochet or, any sort of crafty art, you might be able to connect with this in a way. The biggest thing when it comes to crocheting for me, when Joann's was open, rip Joann's, we miss you, was the deals and the coupons. And if you spend $20, you get a $5 coupon, and every time you go there you spend $20. I was spending at least $300 a month on yarn when I lived in South Dakota, which is crazy to say. It is what it is. I'm not going to sit in here and harp on like, oh, I could have had so much more money in my savings account. It is what it is. The money is spent, the money is gone. I have made money back, and I still live. I was still able to pay my rent. But from a space perspective, I had so much yarn, way more yarn than I need. And this year I actually have done kind of my first yarn buying ban. I hesitate to call it that because once I put that name on it, my brain, it just doesn't mesh well with it. But from June to November, I didn't buy any yarn. And I will say, caveat, I bought one skein of yarn that is already gone because I made Christmas presents with it. So I kind of don't count that. I also got it secondhand, which was really great. I bought yarn on my birthday, over like my birthday weekend and stuff, that I really, really like, that I'm really excited to use. I went for so long, and now I want to go for at least that long again. I do need to buy more of this brown yarn for a sweater that I'm making for my boyfriend, but that is something that I am making right now. I'm not buying to make in a couple years, which is kind of what was going on. Is I was seeing all this really pretty yarn, and then I would bring it home and it would sit for so long. I have been really trying to move yarn through my collection. One way I do that is I make scarves for project warm-ups or women's shelters or wherever really needs it, because I do live in a colder climate where things like that are needed. I also have been working through some of my project backlog. Like, I finally made matching stockings for myself, my animals, and my boyfriend. And then I also finally finished up, I've been like finishing projects that I've been needing to finish. So, you know, things have been going really, really well for me on that front. Right now, my biggest problem, I would say, is like thrifting books, because I love going to the thrift store and I love thrifting books, and books are obviously like something that you can just own forever. And that is a little bit of a different relationship for me because of the state of the world right now, and I do want to have like a life library, but I am trying to get better, and I am going to make a video on this. I'm getting better at buying books for longevity rather than read once and unhaul them, because I have had that problem in the past where I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to like this book, therefore I'm gonna buy it, and I read it and I hate it. Or like romance books in particular, I don't buy as much anymore because I only read them one time and then I get rid of them. So I'm trying to buy more for lifelong reading and wanting to reread. But because of that, I am buying a lot of books for a very cheap price, which is great for my wallet, but not great for my space. I have so many books right now. And I'm trying, I am. Some channels that actually have helped me a lot with evaluating my relationship to consumer culture. I'm sure you've heard me talk about her on the channel before, but Shauna Rapari, I really, really like her videos on consumption and conscious consumerism. And then I also watch Susanna Friesen and her stuff, because she talks about like how absurd a lot of stuff is, and I really like that, because I need to hear sometimes that things are absurd, because it is. Like when they talk about 400 brands partnered with the Wicked movie, like I can understand like REM Beauty, right? Because that's Ariana Grande's beauty line. I can understand that, right? I can even understand maybe some fragrance. Obviously places are going to slap the name on it for clothing, but like Swiffer, like cleaning products, really, like it's ridiculous. And I feel like sometimes I need to hear that these things are ridiculous over and over and over again to remind me, no, these aren't things that I need. And then circling back to beauty and my consumption relationship with beauty, sorry, I feel like this is all over the place. This is why I make scripts, but I'm trying not to like read from a computer. So these are kind of just my unfiltered thoughts. I hope that you like them. I kind of go in and out when it comes to beauty. Like there are some times when I maybe purchase a little bit too much. Like I've always loved eyeshadow. Eyeshadow is something that just brings me a lot of joy. Therefore, I have a lot of it. Recently, I've been going with more like one shadow looks. I've actually been wearing bronzer as an eyeshadow recently. But I've been buying less and trying to stretch my products more, and that has actually been really interesting and fun for me. Like I'm able to use eyeshadow in my eyebrows and bronzer as my eyeshadow, and just doing more simple looks, because I don't need to be doing a full face whenever I leave the house, even if I really, really want to. Especially right now, I'm like really congested, so it's like, yeah, I just did my makeup, but I have to like blow my nose, and I have my little red nose going on, so I don't want to spend a lot of time perfecting my makeup to then just smear it all off because I need to blow my nose. But I definitely have pared down my beauty collection a lot more. I don't have as much makeup as I used to. I think that my collection is manageable and I really like it a lot. Like I said, I have a lot of eyeshadow, but that doesn't really bother me. It's something that I like to have a lot of options with, whereas like I have less bronzers and less blushes. I also have a lot of lip products, and I do think that that might be my Achilles heel right now, where I just really, really, really like different lipsticks. Therefore, I've been buying them a little bit more often. But as long as I stay out of an Ulta, I'm pretty okay. The biggest thing is when I have to go into Ulta, because they sell The Ordinary, which is, I use their niacinamide face serum to help with my acne. So whenever I have to go in there, I'm like, oh, what's new? And then I end up buying something. I have the money to do so. It's not like this is putting me financially under. And I do have like extra beauty space, whereas I didn't used to. But the biggest thing right now for me and my relationship to my stuff is I'm really trying to practice gratitude, and I'm trying to practice not buying as much stuff. Like I said, books are particularly hard for me right now because I do love reading. It's the number one thing I do. I think I've read around 160 books this year, which is absolutely insane. I don't think I'll ever have a reading year like this again, but we'll see, I guess. I definitely want to focus more on my physical TBR in 2026, and I've been trying to focus a lot on my physical TBR right now towards the end of 2025, so I would love to read down my physical TBR. It's just hard when like I want to own a lot of books. My boyfriend loves reading too, so he likes to own books as well. So unfortunately we enable each other a little bit, but I think if I utilize my local library a little bit more, I think that would help. So that's kind of my plan for that, but I'm not going to go on like a book buying ban, which maybe like having more of a mindset of like no would help me. Yeah, I also like the concept of low buys a lot. I've never done like a specific no buy month. If I do like a specific no buy, my brain is like, oh my god, you can't have anything, and then that also like extends for me into like needing to buy food. It's really hard because my brain just does not work very well sometimes. So I think like if I did a low buy and I'm like, hey, no clothes, like not buying clothes is pretty good for me. I like not buying clothes because I make clothing and I like mending what I have, but there are some gaps in my wardrobe, and I have been more into thrifting clothes recently. I've always been into thrifting, but buying clothes secondhand has always been something I've done a little bit less of, just because as I live in more of a mid-sized body now, it's a little bit harder for me to find clothes that fit me. And it's hard because now there are no more changing rooms in thrift stores. I can't like I can't like try things on as easily. I have done like the biker shorts tank top thing before, but it's also snowing outside right now, so I'm not really going to be doing that in December, you know. But that is something that I aspire to do more of, and just like mending my clothes as well is something that I want to do. But I do have a lot of my clothes I own for like a long time. Like when I buy clothes, I own them for a very long time, and I can start to see some more wear and tear on the clothes that I do have. So I want to mend those. My boyfriend's clothes need mending so bad. So that's a plan for like 2026, is like mending our clothing and making sure that they last longer. Just give them a longer lease on life, I guess. And I do have a sewing machine, which does help a lot. I know that not everybody is versed in mending or has the access to these sorts of tools, so I am privileged in that way. So I think that's all I really have to say. Those are some of my unfiltered, kind of all over the place thoughts on like underconsumption and my relationship to it. I'm not a perfect person, and I'm trying to be better and using what I have. I've been doing really good this holiday season also using what I have, and I actually just mended a dress that I thrifted and made it so that the sleeves like fit my arms better. So that was something I'm so proud of myself for. That one. That is crazy that I did that. But let me know in the comments below what your relationship kind of to consumerism, underconsumption, how that is all kind of going for you, what you're willing to share, obviously, but we could have like a nice discussion in the comments. And thank you so much for watching today. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. I am posting a video every single day in December and would love for you to come along on that journey with me. And with all that said, I will see you guys next time. Bye!